Dharmasthala, Secrets Behind a Sacred Land. A name that resonates with spirituality and devotion. Located on the banks of the Netravati River in Karnataka, Dharmasthala is a centuries old temple town home to the sacred Sri Manjunatha temple. Here, pilgrims receive free meals, shelter, and blessings, and the air is thick with the fragrance of faith. But we all know, now, beneath the chants and temple bells, a dark story is surfacing. One that has transformed this holy land into the epicenter of India's most chilling criminal investigation. It all began in June 2025 with a handwritten letter that shocked Karnataka. A former sanitation worker of the temple claimed that he had been forced to bury over 100 bodies, women and minors, over nearly 2 decades, that is almost from 1995 to 2014. He alleged that many of the victims bore marks of sexual assault and strangulation. He described secret midnight burials deep in the soil of Dharmasthala and along the lonely banks of the Netravati. At first, many dismissed the claims as impossible, but then he went to the police. An FIR was registered in early July. He was granted witness protection, and to prove his story, he carried skeletal remains into a courtroom. India was watching and demanding answers. This was the time where the SIT stepped in. The Karnataka government responded by forming a special investigation team led by DGP Pranab Mukherjee, a seasoned officer tasked with the unraveling the truth. The SIT began with 3 key objectives. First one was to verify the whistleblower's story. Second was to locate the alleged burial sites. And the third was to recover forensic evidence before it disappears forever. Though field inspections and GPS mapping, the SIT identified 13 to 15 suspected burial locations from forest patches to river banks in the very shadow of the temple town. By the end of July, the first exhumations began. Day 1 brought no results. The earth was waterlogged and the soil gave nothing away. But the team persisted. Day 2 moved to new sites, and on day 3, the story changed forever. Let's see what all are the latest updates on this ground speaks. Let's also see a news which is almost close to a development. Ananya Bhat, first year MBBS student, who vanished during a 2003 college trip to Dharmasthala. For 22 years, her mother Sujata Bhat, a former CBI stenographer, waited in silence. On July 15, she walked into the Dakshina Kannada SP office, demanding the SIT take her daughter's case, vowing that if bones are found, DNA will speak the truth. Now, all eyes are on Site 8, the unexamined ground that may finally reveal what happened to Ananya. Let's wait and see. In the early hours of this morning, at Site 6, investigations made a grim discovery. Beneath 4 feet of soil, they recovered 15 human bone fragments, the first physical evidence supporting the whistleblower's claims. Beside the remains, they found a PAN card, partially buried and caked in mud, along with the shreds of red cloth. This PAN card has already been traced to a living individual, marking the first tangible lead that could connect the bones to their real identity, perhaps a victim or a missing link in the chain of alleged cover-ups. Plastic sheets now seal the dig site. Forensic teams in protective suits are at work, and armed police guard the perimeter. Dharmasthala's sacred soil has spoken, and it is speaking of death. Let's also see was the storm beyond the soil. The discovery has triggered waves of reaction across India. Women's groups and human rights activists led by AIDWA demand full autonomy for the SIT and robust witness protection, fearing political interference. The temple authorities have pledged full cooperation, insisting that truth must prevail. And in politics, the case has become a battlefield, with opposition parties accusing the government of neglect and silence, while ruling parties promise justice without compromise. Meanwhile, SIT Chief Pranab Mukherjee faces uncertainty over his tenure after his name appeared on the central deputation list, raising questions about continuity in leadership. And in the digital world, confidential witness statements have been leaked online, fueling public anger and concerns over the probe's integrity. Let's also see a town caught between faith and fear. Dharmasthala today is really unrecognizable. Excavators dig where pilgrims once walked. Police barricades rise when incense once burned. And the riverbanks where families prayed and bathed are now crime scenes under global scrutiny. The SIT will continue to unearth the remaining sites, and each shoal of earth carries the weight of a question. How many stories are still buried here? For the first time, bones have surfaced, giving voice to decades of whispers. The next days could reveal more remains, new evidence, and perhaps the names of the lost. As the nation waits, Dharmasthala stands at a crossroads between devotion and disclosure, between silence and justice. In Dharmasthala, where prayers once rose to the heavens, the ground itself now tells a story of betrayal. The question is no longer whether they were secrets, but how many, and how deep they go. Let's see.